How you doing? This is Jimmy the Bull with a very important message, yo. Would you guys cut it out for 5 minutes over here? Don't forget, listen to Heavy Muscle Radio, Monday 7, or forget about it!
10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio. Watch out!
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined by the technician, Chris Aceto, on this May 21st, 2018 evening. And Chris, the New York Pro just let out. We're actually on May 20th, to be completely accurate. But Chris, you just got out of that New York Pro. What a whirlwind show that was, right down to the wire. Very close race between Juan Morel and Nathan DeAsha. We called it here on this program last week that more than likely it would be a battle between these two guys. Very close decision. Prejudging was a 1-point decision. Talk to me about Nathan DeAsha and his New York Pro victory. Was it well-deserved? What won it for him? Were you impressed?
He won it on... I thought he really won it at night. I know the judging scores, interestingly, had... might not reflect that, but I guess to assess fairly where he was, you'd have to go back to prejudging. And in prejudging, he had a heavy film of water, but he was very round everywhere, with the most amount of muscle in the class. And juxtapose that with Juan Morel, who really came through with absolutely stellar condition on the side chest, stellar condition on the side tricep. I'm such a Juan critic, so it's great to see somebody who you're a critic of.
Right.
And I'm a critic, and I think one would agree with this, is because he's got the stock market physique. He's full, and then the next show he's like full but watery, or he's peeled but like peeled and flat, not full enough. He knows he's got a fullness issue.
Right. So Chris, was this Juan Morel better than when he beat Victor Martinez and won the New York Pro, or the same or worse?
It's better. He had a lot of detail in the side chest, side tricep. Definitely very crisp in the back double. Back lat spread, he screwed it up the way he was hitting it. He was rounding over. I think that cost him, really. That could have cost him something. Maybe that shot or the points or even the show is, I think instead of, he was like rounding his shoulders on the back lat spread where he clearly had the better condition, and instead of like rounding and then pushing his chest up to show more width.
I wasn't there, so I'm not going to critique, his physique, but he doesn't look that crisp in the pictures. I don't know if his tan maybe wasn't dark enough.
No, the lighting was not that good.
Okay, so is that what it was?
It drowned people out because a lot of people with tremendous color, got on stage and looked very pale. He was crisp. He was very crisp from behind, impressive. And inside chest, inside tricep, he was very impressive with conditioning. I had him. I was surprised. I was running through the prejudging, and I thought he might be able to pull it out. I thought he was ahead by a smidgen after prejudging based on the conditioning and based on the fact that, Nathan's bigger and denser, clearly,
right,
with big wheels, which exposed Juan's still weaker legs. He had a heavy film of water, but at the night show,
Nathan got better?
Nathan got better, and Juan was the same, which was very good. And they compared him, and just Nathan's overall, thickness with the lower body, it just pulled him through. I don't know what the scorecard showed, but it was close.
Yeah, it was very.
And we predicted it. How's that?
Yeah, because they match up very well. Now, the interesting thing was that, Nathan won the prejudging and Juan won the night show. So it was kind of, the judges saw it almost like just a little reversed of what you said. Now, it was very close. It was only like a couple points for each way. So some judges obviously saw it your way and some saw it the other way. This, obviously, decision could have really, you almost have to call this a tie because that's how close it was on the scorecards. And you very rarely see judges, not agreeing with each other. We judge a lot. I mean, we critique a lot of shows, and most of the first and second place placings are pretty unanimous. It might have been a close show, but most of the judges usually see it the same way. Sometimes you have a point or two, one or the other way. But so this is a very close show, obviously, and I'm sure Juan is crushed by it because it sucks when when you're that close and you look so good and then you walk away and you don't win. Because I'm sure there have been shows that he won that he probably didn't even look this good. And, it depends on who's there. But, I think the fact that Juan could push a guy like Nathan DeAsha, who's a top 7 Olympian, this far, just is a testament to the fact that maybe we're going to see Juan at the Olympia do some damage this year.
Well, not according to Sergio.
Well, let's get to the wrap-up was done by you, Guy Sisternino, and Sergio, probably the 3 most opinionated people I know, aside from myself. What did Sergio have to say about this?
I think he said that that Juan could have won, but Nathan sells more tickets because he's got more thick, and it's a thick man show. And he said Josh Wade is just up there because he's white.
Oh, is that what Sergio really said?
No. He said he said it's good to see a white guy up there. He did for that.
Here's the question that I have for you, and I want you to give me the answer. Don't even think about it; just answer. If we asked Sergio how he would have done in this lineup, what he said?
Guy asked him that.
Oh, he did.
Guy said I'd win. He probably would have, Dave, because you know what? His condition was lights out last year.
Right. Yeah, no, it was. And the reason I ask you that question is, and why I don't know the answer is because I haven't edited the video yet that is being uploaded to me. So people be like, I thought didn't Dave watch his own video from the own site? I watch it. I'm going to edit it later, but I haven't seen it yet. So
Dave, okay, we got to do a little aside before I lose my train of thought, because you and I think so much alike. I was driving around this area, White Plains, where the show is, and I drove through Scarsdale. So tell me the first thing that comes to your mind, Scarsdale.
Dr. Tarnower, the Scarsdale diet doctor who killed his girlfriend there. Jean Harris. I don't know how I remember that, by the way.
She was murdered, too, I think.
He murdered her.
Scarsdale diet.
He murdered her. He was a diet doctor in Scarsdale, and he was having an affair with her, and he
was like a murderous guru. He was like a diet doc. He was like the diet doc before Chad took that name, the diet doc.
Scarsdale's a very wealthy community, by the way.
Oh,
for those people who don't know. Yeah, I lived up there for a while. Not in Scarsdale, but around there.
Yeah, because I got lost and I saw where you went to college up there.
Yeah, New York Medical College. Oh, yeah, it's right by the venue. Yeah. Actually, you were about a block away from Dr. Blau's house. I should have had you go have lunch with him. Something.
A lot of money in that gyno operation.
Yeah. You probably could have sent a couple of the competitors over there down the block, like we said.
Yeah.
So, talk to me about Justin Rodriguez, who finished in 3rd place. I tried to get this guy for an interview for like 3 weeks before the show, and he was the most difficult person to nail that.
Well, I don't know. He works. He's afraid you're going to ask him questions about, like, he works with Abdullah from the Camel Crew, and he probably is afraid that you're going to.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
You ever notice that these guys who start working with the Camel Crew guys, they start to look like Middle Eastern? You ever notice that?
Well, anyone can look Middle Eastern who doesn't have blonde hair and blue eyes.
No, even those guys
Maybe
can.
That's why Regan didn't fit in.
That's right. Yeah, he's too white bread over there.
And Akeem didn't look Middle Eastern.
No, he started looking Middle Eastern too because he grew the beard out. I thought he was.
Oh, he did.
Remember?
He did. He looked just like a. Yes.
I think what happens is when you're there, you want to blend in because you stick out so much that you start to dress like them and groom yourself like them. But. Speaking of Akeem, I don't want to go out of order. I'm a very well-ordered person, but I have to mention Akeem Williams, who was 5th last year. Working with the Camel Crew, left the Camel Crew. He was working with Oscar Arden this time, and his placings went down from 5th down to 10th. What the hell happened to Akeem Williams?
I don't know. He has to get back, Dave, to that Tampa look. The Tampa look, or he had that Baltimore look. I mean,
right? A couple of those, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what were you? I guess you were working with him then.
I was torturing him. I was starving him. I told him I had him on the bikini diet because you can't feed this guy. You've worked with guys like this. You can't feed him. He looks like he's carrying so much water here. And I think it was his Instagram. We saw a picture of him eating he showed the breakfast he had that Oscar had him eating. the morning of. I hope Oscar had him eating this. The morning of the show, he was eating like pieces of bread and tons of eggs and bacon and oatmeal. I mean, this guy probably shouldn't have eaten that in a whole day when he ate at that breakfast.
Yeah.
He probably looked good 2 days before the show, I'm sure.
Well, some people, some people think the carb up is like this, going to push the muscle and pull the skin.
Not him. He doesn't need it.
The waters going to go from beneath the skin and into the muscle. So it's it's easy to be seduced with the big carb up.
Look, you know what happens? He works with someone like me, for his whole career, and I always had him on low carbs because I know how carb sensitive he is. Yeah, I feed him a little bit of carbs, but we keep it low, and I don't carb him up heavily because, like you said, he spills and becomes a water. And I made all the mistakes already with him because, when you work with someone that long, you know what works and doesn't work, and then you start getting people talking in your ear and saying, "Oh, you got to eat more, you got to fill out." But when you're the biggest guy on stage, ask Dorian. Dorian said it best. I mean, Dorian probably came in too conservatively, but you don't need to fill up that much. When you're in shape, you just eat a little bit, fill out the top off the muscle, stores of glycogen, and you get on stage. You don't go nuts. Remember, we've talked about this, I always say, people like when I say kooky. People do this crazy, kooky, cockamamie stuff the week of a show, and they ruin themselves usually.
Yeah.
Because I know Oscar. Oscar sent me pictures of him, what he looked like a week out or 2 weeks out privately, and he was good. He looked like he was ready to, peak for the show. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. So I have to, and when I see this breakfast they posted on Instagram, I have to believe that they filled him up. They carved him up too heavily the last couple of days.
Could be.
I mean, this guy should have been vying for the title, don't you think?
Oh, he's got a massive amount of muscle, dude. He looks like, he's freaky. He's freaky.
And like I said, I hope it was Oscar who told him to do that, and he just didn't go off and do it on his own, because I can't imagine. Akeem's pretty good at listening to people, so I don't think he would do it. I'll text Oscar tomorrow and I'll ask him. But I'm sure that was a big disappointment. But let's get back to the top five. So we talked about Nathan. We talked about Juan. We talked about Justin. What did Justin need to do to win this show?
Justin looks very good. He looked really good at night. I think his midsection standing in the lineup is a little bit distracting. That's like the major knock against him.
If you had to guess, would you say he's overcarb too?
I don't even know. I'm
looking at the pictures, but I don't want to judge from the pictures because the pictures don't tell the whole story.
Prejudging, he might have been overcarb because he was not that. He was much tighter at the night show.
Mm-hmm.
He was sharp at night.
He's got a good physique. He's got great arms, this kid, and
great arms.
Got a good back.
I checked to see if they're muffin arms.
No, they look real. Yeah, he's got great peaks. I mean, he's made a lot of improvements over the last 3 years, and
yes, he has.
I think that you're right. The midsection just looks overblown out to me, and that sometimes can be from overcarb. Sometimes you're better off carbing slowly over the whole week if you have midsection distension problems, and this way you don't have to eat so much food at the very, very end. Or, I don't know what he does in terms of, I know nothing about his prep. You got to take a fiber supplement, to keep that midsection low. Because when you're a big guy with a fast metabolism and you need to eat a lot of food, you got to keep that food moving through you. Because you know what happens, Chris, when you start carbing and taking the water out and diuretics the last week.
Oh, you can't go to the bathroom.
Yeah, because it becomes cement in your stomach, all those carbs. And then you get bloated and distended and you can't pull your stomach in. And if you would have used Fiberlize twice a day, that'll keep you moving. And I don't know what he does, so he might use a fiber supplement. I'm just saying it looks like maybe from all the food he needed to eat to fill up, he might not have been emptying his bowel properly. And the worst thing you can do, and I used to try to do this before I discovered fiber when I was competing, was I would try to use an enema or some kind of Ducalex is like a laxative you stick up your butt. It helps you go to the bathroom. But that irritates. I think that irritates your gut more than anything. It makes it worse sometimes.
Yeah,
so
could be.
That's that's something. And once again, this is called rookie mistakes. He's still a young guy. He hasn't really competed in that many shows. He'll learn. The guy who impressed me. Let's talk about John De La Rosa first in 5th place. Is this worse than last year or better?
Worse.
Okay. Now John was the runner-up behind Sergio Oliva Jr. last year. Very close battle. And we thought, John's going to come back here and he's going to vie for the title. What didn't you like about, I think, what is he working with, Justin now? Justin Miller?
Yeah, it was a terrible night for Justin Miller.
Yeah, Justin didn't have a good night. He had a good night in Pittsburgh when Steve Loris won, but we'll get to some of his other guys. But what happened to De La Rosa? Not in shape? That's what it looks like to me.
No, just water, just water, a lot of water, not lean enough, I mean, some people's water looks like fat, right? So that can make you look like way off. So he had fat and water. I mean, the two things that you're supposed to get rid of.
Didn't Shaun work with himself last year? Didn't he do his own diet? I think he said.
Yeah.
He seems to do better on his own? He seems to know his body by now. Why does he just not stay by him, let it do his own thing? It seems like he's always got to be a part of a team or something like that. You know what I mean? He's probably gone through more trainers.
I'm tired of a team thing. I hate when people even post Team Aceto on something. No. It's like, we're not a team. I don't even like you.
I like John. He's like one of the nicest guys in the sport, and you know what?
Yes,
he's a smart guy, and he studies everything. John. Well, I know you're listening. Do your own diet. Stop fucking jumping on these guys' bandwagons. You don't need any help anymore. You're knowledgeable enough to do your own diet. I think people screw you up. You know your own body by now. He should have definitely been up there in that top group. He certainly should have been at least third. If he was at his best. Maybe even he would have won the show for all we know.
True. Let's
talk about the guy who's I thought was the sleeper. There's always one guy who surprises everyone and usually gets a little overlooked in doing so, and that's Rafael Brandao. Is it Brandao? Brandao? How do you pronounce it? Brandao. You worked with him. I'm not just saying this because you work with him. The guy is really good. To come out of nowhere and place 5th at New York Pro is a huge.
6. He got 6.
Oh, it says on the placings 5th place.
Oh, maybe I think they had. Anyways, maybe he did get 5th.
Oh no! Oh, you're right. John De La Rosa was 5th. I'm sorry.
Well, he could have been as high as 3rd. Period. End of story.
Yeah. No, he looks like
nobody would have blinked a wink if he had got 3rd.
He's definitely more conditioned than De La Rosa is.
Well, he's more conditioned than almost everyone.
So what do you think? You think it was just that he's a new guy and no one really?
No, I mean, the knock was that he needs more size, and so you got Milos moving in on them, And,
yeah. So now what's this? You said Chris sends. I have to say this because the people expect this. Chris sends me this text that Milos sent this guy Rafael, that basically said, "Come work with me," basically, more or less.
It just said that because Milos was really high on him, and Milos had him 3rd, Jose had him 3rd, right. I had him 3rd. That's not to say that he deserved 3rd. It's just people who I know.
Well, I think these are the guys who love conditioning.
Yeah. Well, we like shape too, and no guts.
Yeah, true. You're right. He's good shape too.
So that's what he's got, and he's got balance. And you'd think that if you come into a show in really strong condition, good balance, small waist, you get rewarded for it. They rewarded him at night, like the calls. They gave him really good calls at night, but in the morning he didn't get the first call out.
He reminds me of a Mo El Musawi. Remember when Mo El Musawi first came on the scene? No one knew who he was, and he was all of a sudden placing. He was like top 10 at the Olympia. He had a similar physique to this. Really good conditioning, good shape, not the biggest guy on stage.
True. Not the biggest guy on stage, and so he needs more mass. But look at how many people have added mass and just got. I mean, I don't even want to. There's people in the top 5. A lot of people have stomach issues.
Yeah.
And in other words, so what? It's like, you expand the size of your house, but you still have a little bathroom, or you expand the size of your bathroom. It's disproportionate to your bedrooms and living room. Right. Make a real estate analogy. So I mean, he should have been higher. Period. I was very surprised, actually, extremely surprised he was not in the first call out. And the audience was right behind him from the prejudging from the get go, which he had one of the best. I think him, Nathan, and for sure him, Nathan, and Juan had the crowd behind him.
Right. Now, sticking with the same message, I guess you could say, in 7th place was Milan Shadik, who was the 212.
He was in the first call.
Yeah, I'm saying he looks really good too. His conditioning was great. He wasn't the biggest guy up there. Obviously, he was a 212 guy last year.
He looked great. Oddly enough, he was in the first call and ends up behind Rafael, but he looked tremendous. He had a lot of balance, a lot of condition.
it seems like a lot of these guys, their color was terrible. And like I said, it could be the lighting on stage.
The lighting. Dave,
All right.
I'm telling you, it is the lighting because, like, Raphael was like perfect, like tremendous color, and under the lights we just like lost it.
You know what? It's that White Plains convention center there, which is old. It's beautiful, but it's old, and I think they have old lights in there, and they're either too bright or they're not bright enough. And you obviously you're better off having too much light. Probably the video stuff would come out good because video usually comes out well when you're lit well. So, matter of fact, I put a clip up on my Instagram of someone had sent me from the crowd, and the video looked really good. So, once again, because I always used to ask the I think was it the Arnold people or the Olympia? I used to say, how come remember the Iron Man?
Oh yeah.
The lighting was so great because Mike Nevue and John Balick used to light the stage. I used to ask them. I said, why does the Arnold not have as good a lighting as you do? Why don't they bring you guys in? He's like, well, they light that stage for video. He said for not for photos. For photos, it has to be done a different way, and I think that's probably what's going on there as well. But I thought Shoddick looked really good. That's why I want to really mention him because
me too. I did too.
I think I like to see guys move up. He moved up from 212 successfully. And I think next year we're going to see someone really good. How did Baiki look, who placed 8th here?
Off.
This poor guy can never get in shape. Would you work with him if he ever asked you?
No. I can't work. I can't work with people who've gone through like the guru Rolodex.
Do you think it's his fault, or do you think it's whoever's helping him?
I think it's his fault.
I think so too. Because you can't have that many people fail with someone, right?
Yeah. Someone's got to have a success.
Yeah. There's got to be something going on. I don't know what it is. I think the year he worked with himself, remember he made the comeback after he got cured of diabetes through God healing him? He looked, that was the best he ever looked. And he did his own diet, he told me, because no one even believed in him. I don't think anyone wanted to work with him. And then he did his own thing. I said, well, you should continue doing your own diet. I said, you obviously know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So maybe he'll go back to the drawing board. I have to believe one of the disappointments in this lineup, in addition to Joaquin Williams, is Max Charles, who finished his 9th here. What happened with him? He doesn't.
Well, he's got the
right.
He has a skateboard shoulder.
Oh, he had an ejection mark in the shoulder?
Well, yeah, one of the shoulders is just like
I noticed Akeem had a big lump in one of his shoulders too, in the pictures.
Really? I didn't even notice because he's just so big. I wouldn't even bother. You know what I mean?
But Max looks like he was off season to me, like because he's always hard. He's veiny out of his mind, and he has no real dryness or detail in his physique.
Yeah, no, he was off. He was way off.
So, and that's unusual because I don't think I very rarely see Max Charles off.
Yeah, true. I agree with you.
I wonder if he just jumped in at the last minute because it was in New York.
It's never a good idea to quote, just jump in.
Yeah. What happened to Eddie Bracamontes? Because you sent me pictures of this guy a week or two out. He looked great. Was it just that his lineup is too good for him?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know if the lineup. I think maybe just the lineup, was too good. Maybe it's too good. His glutes are, tight. He looks. I don't know how he showed up in pictures, but he looked. He looked good in person. He looked very good on stage. Other people have more bells and whistles, I guess.
Yeah. It's a tough lineup. Well, Brad Rowe looked good too in 12th place, but he's just, I guess, maybe not big enough. I don't know.
He needs upper body.
Yeah.
He needs upper body.
He needs that back. He has a very weak back.
Yeah.
His front double's not bad, but his arms are not that big,
Well, he could shoot him if,
Yeah, he's got to jimmy him up a little bit, I think.
Muffin him up.
Muffin him up. Oh, my God. Let's talk about the 212 class. Shaun Clarida, the giant killer, the new giant killer.
It's great.
I mean, this has got to be the biggest victory, or the biggest upset. Also think about this. This is a guy who won the bantamweight class. This is another Dexter Jackson story almost.
No, I was just going to say that.
He was a natural bodybuilder for many years. He was actually a natural pro in one of the other organizations. Came over here. People probably like, what's this guy doing? He won the bantamweight class. He's not going to do anything. He might have won the lightweight. I'm not sure. It was one of those classes. And he's like, this guy's never going to do anything. And little by little, he always comes to my Bros vs. Pros. He's very supportive of everything we do at RxMuscle. I got to get him on the show. I'm going to interview him. But he was like, I'm going to win the New York Pro one of these days. I said, Shaun, I don't doubt you because you've made so many improvements year after year after year. I mean, it's almost unbelievable how he's improved.
It is unbelievable.
Was it a well-deserved victory?
It was a.
And I know this is tough for you because you helped the second place guy, Zane Watson.
I can see him winning even though I can't. I mean, he looked great. Next to Zane, he looked like a, he looked not small, but Zane's stature, width, size, and condition is a combo enough to just beat a Clarida.
So why do you think that they gave it to Clarida? Because you're right. I'm looking at the pictures, and Zane is ridiculously conditioned.
That's me, my unbiased. I know how to be unbiased.
Well, it was a close. It was only a 1-point decision at the prejudging.
Because I think Zane still looked at as like an outlier.
Yeah.
I don't think he's looked at as like a, he has no marquee name recognition. Mm-hmm. He's like a Rafael Bandeo. Like who?
Right. Do you think this is going to give him that? You think this really got him noticed in the judges' minds? Moving forward. Of course, Clarida was, a big talk of the show because he looked great. And Clarida put his no knocks against him. This guy paid his dues on this show. Absolutely. He's been there every year for like 3-4 years now.
Yes, he has. Look at Zane's front lat spread side chest alone. Look at the size of the legs. He's crazy peeled, and he has tremendous presentation. He's got a front double with it's got a crazy V taper on it. And I'll tell you this, I posted this on my Instagram. I said, Zane, this is from Zane's lips to my ears. Zane is very aware of his ability to be extremely dangerous at the Olympia. Mm-hmm. And the reason is because I told him to do this show, and he didn't want to do the show. He was right. He said, Chris, the weigh-in is at 9. The prejudging is at He said, that I will have to suffer like crazy to get into the class, and I'll have no time whatsoever at all to come back. So, Zane is like...
So how many meals did he eat after weigh-in? One?
No, one. Some jam and rice cakes.
Yeah, there's nothing you can really do.
And a Gatorade. So, if the Olympia weigh-in is 2 days before, not 2 hours...
Yeah.
He can eat back to his 223 pounds of ridiculous rippedness.
Yeah, that's true. He probably lost a little wow, even though he did look really good in the pictures. So,
he told me that's his take on it is, I'm dangerous. He knows he could be dangerous at the Olympia. Mm-hmm. And here he's limited by the 2-hour window.
Now, is he doing Toronto next week?
He's doing Toronto 2 weeks. Yeah,
2 weeks,
Toronto, which was the original plan because Toronto, the weigh-in's not the same day,
Gotcha. All right, so I'm sure it would be interesting to see if.
And he was stuck at 3:30 in the morning. Like we were in, I wouldn't say panic mode because I just too lazy to panic. But it's like 3:30 in the morning,
right.
And there was nothing left to push. He was like at wit's end, and he was still 216.
Right.
So he had to saunter it off like a madman for hours.
When I think about this Toronto show and I see that, Zane is going to do it, I'm wondering, you think Clarida will show up and do it? Or will he just like...
He may.
Which would be nice to see a rematch, to see if Zane beats him, given the fact that he's got that extra day to fill out.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Zane will eat tonight, and tomorrow he'll be, 219 and just gnarliest.
What did you think of Ahmad El Dasani from in the third position?
Well, he was in jail for 3 days.
Yeah, what the hell happened to this guy? What was he doing in jail? Customs?
He flew in.
Right.
And he had some type of customs issue. They threw him in jail. He was in jail for 3 days.
Right.
Titus took a couple looks at him. No, so he was in jail for 3 days. He got out. I don't know how he got out.
They should have thrown a couple of these guys. If Hakeem Williams was in jail for 3 days, he might have fucking won the show.
Look, dehydrate him in jail for 3 days.
Yeah, eating 2 bologna sandwiches a day.
He got out and he got third in the show.
Imagine what he would have looked like if he wasn't in jail for 3 days.
You know what? Better or worse? Well, you don't know, though. It might have been, who knows?
How the hell did he get out of jail? That's a better question.
I heard The Godfather bailed him out.
Who's that? You mean Bader?
Bader.
Great, thank God. Was Bader at the show?
No, but his cronies were. They loved me. It's like Ramadan. And
oh my God! Yeah, isn't it Ramadan now?
Yeah, they can't talk bad to me during Ramadan.
Oh.
So I had to. I gave Ramadan greetings to all Oxygen Gym.
Were you starving all day?
Yeah, I was starving all day.
Oh my God! You must have been nuts. No coffee for you?
No, I know that's the worst thing. I ate.
You must be like a zombie.
I actually ate less than Regan ate because Regan had no food for almost 5 days. I thought he was going to.
Did you at least eat after the show was over?
Yeah, I drank a 2-liter Diet Coke and had. You know what I had? My eating habits are terrible.
You love Ramadan because you can go the whole day. You love to starve the whole day, and then you get a nice big meal at night.
It's easy for me. I don't need to eat. Yeah. I have no desire to eat food.
You'll probably wake up at what time do you have to leave for tomorrow? To drive back.
Late. I'm going back with the Boston Mass. We're gonna have a good time. He needs to ride back home. I don't know how he got here.
You should leave it before the sun comes up, so you can get another meal in.
Listen, Justin Randall, who we talked about on this show in the 212.
Yeah.
Justin Randall, who did a little Dorian, he was in the first call out.
I was going to ask you about him. Yeah.
And I said, people don't believe me. They said, I said, Justin Randall might beat Steve Lorius.
All right, well, you're skipping too far ahead. How was Justin Randall in the first call and he was 11th place?
Well, because they got bamboozled with his condition. What happened is he was like conditioned out of his mind.
Right.
Dry like a cement, stone. And then what happened was, I think he's not a Clarida. He's like the same height.
Right.
And they got bamboozled from the wacky condition, extreme condition. And so they called him out, but then they called, I think it turned into the dynamics of the prejudge, and it turned into a bigger guy show. Look at the guy who got 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, he's Justin's got great legs, but his pecs are a little flat and his arms are not that big, but he's got great conditioning, and he did make some solid, great improvements. He took my guru course. He looks like a different person from that. He definitely transformed his body. Pretty proud of that. I mean, I think he deserves definitely a good round of applause for that one. But you know what? I'll tell you the guy I was the most impressed with in this lineup, or one of the most impressed. Not Clarida was great and Zane was great. Mahmoud Al-Dura in 4th place.
He looked tremendous.
Yeah, I like his physique a lot.
He's prepped by Samir Zabib, who I used to prep years ago.
This guy's glutes are ridiculous, and
everything,
hamstrings and back and
he came
abs.
He came and posed me before the prejudge, and I told his coach Sam, I said, guaranteed impossibility he won't be top 5, just period.
I think he might have been overlooked, to be honest with you, but I think he could have been a couple places higher. But I mean, he really wasn't overlooked. He was in the top 5, obviously. But
crowd loved him at night.
Well, the New York crowd loves conditioning, and so if they get behind you, that's got to be a huge lift, energetically speaking. So I think we got to look out for this guy. He can be dangerous down the road.
I appreciate it. He's on 183 pounds, I think.
Unbelievable. Really? That's it? He looks like he's in the 200s.
When he posted me, and I think Sam said the 183. I'm like, 183, dude. But 190, whatever. He's nowhere near 212.
Yeah. Ahmad in 5th place looked really good.
I said he would beat Steve Lorius on this show last week.
Yeah,
I said, right?
Yeah. This guy's been around a long time, Ahmad. People don't realize that. He's got to be in his late 40s, don't you think?
No, not that. He's just been around. No, he's got to be. I think he's late 30s.
No way.
Yeah. I'm
going to ask him.
Yeah, he's been around. But
I thought seems like he's been around a long, long time. All right, let's talk about the person, I guess. Well, before we get to see Lorius, talk to me. What happened? What happened to Aaron Clark? First of all, I thought Aaron Clark was doing the Open.
He won the show 4 years ago. He looks like terrible.
He was supposed to do the Open. He moved to the Open. He actually did the Open at the Indianapolis show a couple weeks ago. It didn't go that well. Somehow he sucked down, I guess, to 212. I don't know. Someone must have talked him into doing that. and just didn't look good. What's going on with this guy's body? I mean, he was really good a couple of years ago.
He's spent, dude.
Yeah.
Too many SARMs and other things.
SARMs.
Yeah, everything with initials. IG, Fs, and, all the stuff that people ask me about, and I say, I don't know it. I don't know anything about it.
Right. All right. That's funny. His body just looked tired to me. I don't know.
More than tired, it's shot.
His shape is off, it seems like, too.
Shot.
Yeah. I have to get him on one of these shows and find out what's going on with him. Something's definitely going on because he looks like a different person. All right, let's talk about Steve. Steve Laureus, for those of you who haven't been following the story, 2 weeks ago won the Pittsburgh Pro in Classic Physique. A good friend of mine from many, many years ago, Justin Miller, trains him. And I said to Justin, is he going to do New York Pro now? I said, because it's right in his own backyard. He's a New Yorker. No, he's not doing it because his teammate, I guess Justin's got a bunch of guys he trains, Amit Roy, who was the North American champ from last year, is doing Classic, and they don't want to do the same show. They're friends, and they don't want to compete against each other. I said, well, they're going to compete against each other at the Olympia, aren't they, if Amit wins? Yeah, but they don't want. He's going to do 212. So when I found this out, that Laureus was going to go up to the 212 division, I said to you last week, how do you think he'll do? And what did you say to me?
Nicely, I said killed.
Yeah, you did say that. And I almost kind of disagreed with you because I said, oh, this guy's good. And I said,
no,
maybe he'll surprise people.
He'll get killed.
But you were right. He came in 14th place. What did he look bad, or is it just that he was outclassed here?
No, I just I think some of the pictures are filtered. One, how's that?
Oh, the ones that they put up at.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
He looked soft to me in the pictures. I don't know.
He looked like he looked extremely soft.
This wasn't the guy who won in Pittsburgh, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, he was not. You know what I was saying last week when you asked me, like, there's an expectation that he's going to win the 212. That is like crazy thinking to me, because you do this clearly in terms of condition and muscularity, hardness and density. Devine Wilson beat him.
Right.
There's no argument there. What put Steve over the top by a point, yes, was his flow and shape. So I said, let's take Steve out of it so it doesn't sound like I'm attacking him and Justin, and saying, how would Devine Wilson do against Zane Watson? And the answer is he'd get absolutely destroyed.
Right.
And that's what happened to Steve Laureus. He got destroyed in the show because there's a difference between... I mean, think of 212.
Right.
Fuck,
well,
the guy's a crazy, dense, hard, crazy, dense, peeled cement, hard, gnarly. You can't just have a flowing physique and expect to run into the 212 and win it.
Yeah. How do you think this... Well, what do you think this will do for Steve Laureus? Will this hurt him, in terms of doing this show from a judging perspective? Yeah,
because it deflates the...
victory. Takes away.
But listen, when Cedric beat Kai, I remember saying at the wrap-up with you, I said, well, Cedric just, deflated the mystique of Kai being so great, because I've always said that Kai is, beatable at shows. And when Cedric beat him at the Arnold in both the prejudgment finals and the bodybuilding part, I said that just demystifies the mystique.
Mm-hmm.
So, going forward, you just switch the momentum from like, okay, this is the new classic template, for maybe the Olympia in terms of Steve Laureus, and now, he's 17th place.
Yeah. Yeah, it
but,
didn't.
I mean,
couldn't,
you know what? I mean, did
he would have been better off coming in peeled to the...
Did you tell me last week that he was going to win it?
No.
And then go into the Arnold next year?
Oh, yeah, he wanted to do the Open, Arnold. That's what the plan was.
Next year?
Yeah, 19, yeah.
That is not going to happen.
No. Well, you know what the problem is? He should have come in peeled to the bone. And if the worst case scenario, they could have said, well, he was too small. And then at least no one people would have said, well, he tried, But I think what they probably, and I haven't talked to Justin yet, they probably gambled on carving him up a little too heavily, and it killed his conditioning. Obviously that's what it looked like to me, and I'm just speculating here, of course.
Well, that was his condition was killed, and De La Rosa's was killed.
Yeah. Yeah, Justin didn't have a good weekend, although he's been having some good weekends, prior to this. But this one didn't work out so well. Steve Bentham finished in 6th in that 212 division. John Jewett in 7th. Kerith Bajo, who I actually worked with in 8th. I actually thought he looked really good. This was his pro debut. I want to just say congratulations to him. I think that to make top 10 in this lineup in your pro debut is tremendous, especially since he turned pro by winning the Masters division. So I think we're going to see him move up the ranks over the next year or so, and we're going to see him vying for some titles somewhere down the road. He's got great shape and structure. Let's move to that classic physique division, Chris. What are the fire alarms going off there in the hotel?
I'm not leaving.
You don't leave. Chris is not leave. Never leave the radio show.
Yeah, we
Chris,
can't.
through
We don't
thick
stop
and thin.
to kill for rain, sleet, snow, or fires.
Right, exactly.
I've had buildings that burned down, so I'm experienced.
Yeah, you're a fire expert. Classic physique, Regan Grimes. All right, now here's the question I have to ask you, because I had Regan on my show, as you know, the week before the New York Pro, and he told me that he was going to be in the 243 range, and I said, well, that's great. You're going to do really well in the open. Good luck. And I saw the pictures you were sending me, and I'm like, this guy's going to kill it. And next thing I know, you sent me a text message, and I didn't even believe you. I thought you would just, because sometimes you break my balls. You're like Regan Classic in Classic. I said, yeah, right, whatever. And I ignored you, and I didn't believe it. And then when I started seeing the results coming, and you said, oh, Regan won the Classic, I'm like, what are you talking about? How the hell did you get him down to the 225-pound weight class?
Well, Dave, we had 5 days. Who's that?
Bob Grushkin.
Yeah, Bob Grushkin. Well, you get pulled. Well, you know what?
How many? Did he lose 20-something pounds in 3 days?
He lost 22, 32, 42. He lost 20 in 3. 20.
Was he able to do that and still look good because he's a water bag?
When I pulled 20 off of Rosh, it didn't. Rosh said it backfired, but it didn't backfire with Regan.
He looks like he does. I'll tell you what and look, if he makes the weight, you can do the show. He looks like a bodybuilder with board shorts on. Well, not board shorts, with those Speedos, whatever you want to call them.
You know what? What's ridiculous is he's 222 and he looks like 292.
Yeah, he's lucky he had a suit for this thing. What, do you have to borrow one from someone?
No, he had to have it FedEx in.
Oh, they FedEx in the suit? Oh, my God.
Yeah, I think they FedEx in the suit, yeah.
Thank God it fit him.
Yeah.
No, but you know how, like, sometimes these pro bodybuilders, they'll put on, like, they'll wear, like, short shorts to guest pose in?
Yeah.
That's what he looks like. He looks like a pro bodybuilder to put on a pair of these, like, things just because he had a guest pose or something like that. It almost doesn't look right on him, because I know he's probably got striated glutes under there,
Yeah, no argument for me. He looks like a bodybuilder. He is a bodybuilder. I mean,
right.
Dude,
well,
he got second to. He arguably could have won the show last year in the Open.
Yeah. How would he have done in the Open? That's a better question for you.
He would have done damn well.
Would he have been top 5?
Easy.
Yeah, I agree.
Look at his hamstrings.
Yeah. And these pictures suck. I haven't got our pictures up yet. I'm looking at the NPC News Online pictures, and like I said, I'm assuming that the pictures are probably bad because, like you said, the lighting. Yeah. But I could tell he's just really grainy hard in these pictures.
Yeah, no, his what works for him is he's a big guy, but he has classic lines. I mean, yes, he's a bodybuilder, but it's classic bodybuilding, or is it classic physique?
Classic physique, but it really is bodybuilding. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Was he happy that he did the Classic? I mean, is that something like he wanted to do, or is it?
Yes. It's what he had asked me like 3 weeks ago when he's still fat, because he only dieted 10 weeks and people were just giving him a hard time, according to him, that he'd never make it to the show, make it to the show, and he actually called me one or emailed me one night, and he never emails me about anything, and. He said, I think I'm having I guess he was having a bad day, according to him. And he said, I think that, a lot of people, it's really bothering me that a lot of people think I'm not going to make it to the show. I said, well, you'll make it to the show. We're just going to have to, like, torture you.
Right.
You know, but I know you'll do whatever needs to be done to get there. So at, like, a 3-week mark, he said, hey, I could feel it coming. He called me and he goes, hey, you think I could make 222? I said, no, stop thinking about it. Nice to the classic thing, Regan. I said, you can't make 222.
Yeah. So
he showed up Wednesday early at 2:42 or 2:43.
This is the week of the show, 3 days before.
3 days before the show.
Right.
And he looked good. You know, he looked pretty good. And he was, you know, he holds a lot of water, you know. And he's got good condition sometimes, you know, anyway, so you'd think, well, he holds a lot of water, and he's got the big puffy face, so there's 3 pounds right there.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, do you think I can make it to 222? And, you know, it's weird.
Why would he even ask you that? I could see you saying, hey, I think we can get you down to... I wouldn't think, hey, can I lose 22 pounds in 3 days? I wouldn't even think to ask you that.
I said, why don't we go check into the hospital and we'll just try it from there. No, I said, you know what, Reagan, I said, I can feel that your heart's set on it, so don't hesitate. Let's just give it a try. And so if you make the weight, you know, we'll know the night before, you know, Friday night, we'll know if you're going to make it or not, maybe. Right. And if you can't make it, you just do the open. And if you do make it, you do the
classic.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing, too. Regan can possibly. Well, Regan is 5'11" and 1/1,000,000th of an inch short of 6.
I know, which means he had to go down another 5 pounds. He had to lose, right?
With his hair, just regular hair.
Yeah. He's 6 foot.
He's like 6'1", 6'2". But when they press down, I press down. The funny thing is, he said, do you have a tape measure? I said, I'm doing a remodel, and I drove down. I got 3 of them in the car. I'm dead serious. I was going to post pictures of the tape measure to say, like, what do you think this is, you know, got to have to do with? So I measured on the door jamb in his bathroom 6 feet. And if he stands next to it, he's definitely taller than 6 feet. So he can do the inversion boots and definitely legit. He needs to get 1/8 of an inch.
Right. So you're saying before the Olympia check-in, we have to put him on a rack and we have to stretch him.
And he will, you know, and it's the new thing, you know.
Well, maybe you should buy a rack in the hotel room. We'll videotape the whole thing, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that will want to see these videos of Regan being stretched. Right. Yeah. There's got to be some kind of perversion to that, you know, that people will get off on. And we'll stretch him to get him to 6 feet, and this way he can weigh 5 pounds more at the Olympia. Although in the Olympia, I'm sure the weigh-in is probably a day or two before the event, so probably give him more time.
Yeah, it's not going to be. Same thing with Regan. It was 2 hours, you know.
Now, I'm going to give you the scenario. He does the Olympia. All right, let's say he places top 3. We're not giving anyone victory.
Well, does he beat Arash?
Absolutely. And that's no knock against Arash. I think that Regan has got a great physique. But let's say he places top 3. He can't gain any more muscle because he can't make the weight, right? I mean, what does he do? Does he just say, okay, you know what, the experiment was a success. I placed top 3 at the Olympia. Now I'm going to go up to the open class for the next year.
No, I think that he goes to the Olympia and he stays in that class, and he can stay in that class. He's, you know.
That can't be good for you to lose that much weight every single time you have to compete.
Aside from going to Kuwait, Reagan's not dumb. Where's Louis Marco in all this, by the way? I told him to go to Kuwait. You know how? So, anyways, I think he can refine and chisel and refine.
I don't agree. 22. Look, you just happen to be very gifted at figuring out how to get people down to weight. That's outrageous how much weight he has to lose. That's not even like normal. You know how you did it and didn't ruin his physique is a miracle in and of itself. 22 pounds in 3 days.
Yeah,
no one does that.
No, it's less than a pound an hour.
Chris, no one else could have done that and looked good. Most people would have looked like death, you know, if you would have done it. You know, 12 pounds is hard. You know, 12 pounds is difficult to do. I would tell most people that's too much. But if the guy's watery, okay, I could see 12 pounds. But 22 pounds. You know, look, you can do it for the Olympia, but I'm making my prediction here on the show. Next year he'll be an open guy. No way he's gonna, because the guy could put it. He's been gaining 10 pounds a year. If he puts another 10 pounds on,
maybe he'll try to qualify in 2 divisions, like.
Yeah, well, you know, next year, if he put another 10 pounds of muscle on, though, he would be a very dominant open guy next year.
Yeah.
So this might have been a good strategic move just to get him to the Olympia in the Classic and let him, you know, shine a little bit and get some good social media, you know, buzz, and then next year does the open.
You know what's funny? You know what is funny? I saw Robin Chang last year. I spoke to him, and it was after Vancouver, and Regan was second in Vancouver. You know, his first first year as a pro, and he was, you know, in Vancouver taking second place, and Robin Chang said, "Do you think you could get him to Classic?" I said, "Are you out of your mind?" And I meant it at the time. I was like insulted on Reagan's behalf, like he's a open bodybuilder. He's a big guy. What are you talking about?
And that was when he was 10 pounds lighter too last year.
Yeah,
10 pounds lighter in terms of muscle wise, so it was easier. Would have been easier last year. Last year would have only been 12 pounds.
Yeah.
Well, let's I want to talk about Devine Wilson, who was in second place, who finished second behind Laureus. Remember, he walked up the stage. He was upset with the medals, and I had him on the TV show, and he told us, you know, he got very emotional. I thought he was tremendous here. You know, it had to fucking hurt him here because, you know, he figures I'm going up against Laureus. Laureus doesn't even do the class, and he figures, well, I'm going to win now, and then Regan Grimes drops down.
He's going to. I mean, he's got points now, and
but I'm saying he looks really good here. Polished.
Well, you know what I liked. The fact that he could flip the judges the bird, and the same judges have him second. You know what I mean?
Well, I think the judges. Well, these judges are. You know, when you talk about the top judges in our sport, they don't. That's not how it works. They judge the physique, and he did apologize at the show. You know, he lost his cool.
People could have. You know, I mean.
I would have been last place if it was me, but this guy, he's a nice guy. I'm Dave Palumbo, you know. You got to punish Dave Palumbo, but Devine Wilson is, you know, he just lost his cool here, you know.
Yeah.
So, no, I thought, look.
No, he looked tremendous.
He's got a great physique. I know Regan won unanimously, but Devine really looks good here. You know, I'm very impressed.
Super good.
He's solidly in second. There's no one close to him.
Yeah. Well, third place was
David Hoffman. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think of him?
Tremendous from the front, a little shallow in the back, but you know, classic lines, classic shape. Mm-hmm. You know.
You know, I can't believe that alarm is still going off in your hotel.
Yeah. Well, I don't smell smoke or anything.
What hotel are you staying in anyway?
Maybe Cormier's next door smoking a joint and catch the I'm staying at the Sheridan.
Oh.
You know, and who was supposed to win that show?
With this show?
Yeah, the teammate.
Oh, Mitt Roy. I'm getting to him. Let's talk about Ricky Moten, who finishes fourth.
Very good.
I just want to say, I want to give him a little plug. He's been emailing me his progress pictures for like 2 years now. Just to, hey, what do you think, Dave?
Yeah.
And he sent me his pictures during the week, and I'm like, you're going to do good. I said, no one's going to see you coming. I said, you look really, really good.
Totally
good.
And
he killed it here, fourth place. You know, that first big top five.
Yeah.
So he's like, next year I'm going to win it. I said, you know what?
Oh, he's like,
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt
it. Yeah, of course.
He's another Devine Wilson with better legs, I think.
Yeah, I think he's got better legs for sure.
So, congratulations, Ricky.
Is Devine his real name, or did you ask him?
That's his real name, yeah.
Yep.
Kenneth Owens in fifth place. What did you think?
Also very impressive.
Another guy this guy might have the smallest waist in the whole lineup.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
I think it's under 20 inches. It looks like it is. He's not the biggest guy in the lineup, obviously, but what tremendous shape. Good front double.
Yeah, very good.
Good classic poses, too, from the pictures I'm looking at. Yep. He really does, all those, like, Terrence Ruffin poses,
Yeah, Terrence, he does.
See, now we know the name. We're starting to know the names of these guys. Isn't that impressive?
There are, because there's a lot of good guys.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to sixth place here. Mitt Roy, who Justin was my friend was predicting was going to win the show. Was he good, or was he good and outclassed, or was he just off and outclassed?
He was on from the front and mostly completely off from being behind.
Mm-hmm. Which seems to be par for the course for a lot of the people that Justin helped this show. I don't know what went on. It was a little. There's a lot of water going on here. I see.
Yeah.
You know what happens? You get these guys into a bigger show. The small shows, they come in the way they should. You get a bigger show, and everyone thinks bigger. Got to be bigger. And sometimes, you carve these guys up too much, or you're afraid to suck them too dry. You think they're going to be small or flat. But conditioning, we say it over and over, Chris. Conditioning wins shows, doesn't it?
Yeah, Sergio won the show last year because of conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I mean. I mean, it's redundant because we've already said it, but he would not have won it last year if he was in good condition. It had to be like an outstanding level of conditioning for him to be able to win that show.
This guy's got a great story, though. I mean, he came from India. He had nothing. He came to the United States, and he wanted to be a pro bodybuilder. And, I mean, he was communicating with Justin through emails, and I mean, he comes from a very poor community. He had a daughter. He wanted to come to the United States to make good, to be able to, bring her over here and have enough money. And he never was going to turn pro in bodybuilding. He couldn't even compete in these shows in the United States because he didn't have citizenship. He wound up marrying a woman here, got his citizenship, and then they created Classic Physique, which he was made for. He won the North American last year, and this was his first pro event. I mean, it is really a Cinderella story in a sense. And hopefully he'll continue to get better, and we'll see more of him at Roy. But this wasn't his best showing for sure, for certain, I should say. Anyone in that class that you thought got overlooked?
It's hard to say. I mean, I think the top 5.
They got it right.
Yeah, they got it right. I mean, they got it all right, including even the Zane thing. You could, I mean, Shaun and Clarida looked great. So I think it was judging was. I mean, there was. I think the big overlook of the night was Raphael.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense because
New guy. That's what it was. What did you think of the men's physique? Ray Edmonds, he's cleaning up. This guy wins the men's physique. Did you see that division? Or did you run out?
I ran out.
Chris is like a parent. Like as soon as his kids are done, he leaves.
Well, I mean, there's only so much you can watch, you know.
Ray's well, he's been cleaning up. He won in Pittsburgh. He beat Akeem Scott there. He beats him again here. Shirkwa Shabazz in third. So Andre Comastak in fourth. Chase Savoy in fifth. So
fire trucks are out in front of the.
Oh, really? Maybe you should rappel down the outside of the building. You can call Callum Van Mogen for some advice. Say, Callum, what do I do so that I don't tear my quad, rappelling down the side of this building, Because I waited too long because I wanted to do the radio show with Dave. I waited too long. At least they turned the alarm off, so that's got to be good news.
Yeah, so that must be we're in the clear. I'll take a look out that window. Let's see.
Yeah, if we were doing TV, it would be Chris could show you the bird's eye view of what's going on, but we're not. We're doing the radio show.
1, 2, honestly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fire trucks.
Well, they got to send the fire. Once the alarm goes off and these things, they're required by law. They got to send the fire trucks. And, New York, things burn down all the time, so you never know.
Yeah. Well, my building burned down. Remember when we were
I know.
I'm like, oh, just a fire, Dave.
Who'd you call? Not Ghostbusters. You called, what's his name? I almost sent him down here, What's the guy's name again?
Which
our
guy?
adjuster? Our adjuster friend.
Oh, Joe Cherry.
Joe Cherry. I almost had Joe come down to Florida because Denise Messina, Denise.
Yeah.
She has a house down here in Fort Myers, and an electrical line went down and it caught fire and it burnt down a house next to her, and it smoked her whole house out and everything. I said, we should. She wound up hiring a separate adjuster down here because they were trying to screw her. I'm like, I should have sent Joe down here. He would have been down here like the next day, probably.
In seconds, she would have rebuilt her like a castle. And they would have given an extra $20,000 for her fish tank.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
$50,000.
He made me a lot of money, Joe. Even though it wasn't worth the aggravation, but he made me money. It's funny because Denise was on the Iron Rage show with Lee Priest this past week because she's been staying down
What
here.
was she raging about?
No, she wasn't. She wanted to talk about motivation, but I made her bitch and complain about it. Because the Iron Rage is about a show about bitching and complaining. So, but we wound up ending on motivation, how to motivate people. But we were talking about people who don't listen to you when you diet and they cheat on their diet and how annoying it is. When you're trying to help people who don't listen. I'm sure there was a couple guys in the show that you probably can say didn't listen to you.
Yeah. Well, there's always, when you're working with someone, sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, they try their own things. They have the breakfast buffet. Blackman used to be so funny because whenever we would go to the Olympia, when I worked for MD, he'd be like, if someone was off, they weren't listening to their coach. They went to the Chinese buffet. That was always his like.
The Chinese buffet.
It was always the Chinese buffet, because he's Jewish, so that's where the Jews go when they're hungry. The Chinese buffet, myself included, of course. And I think Akeem hit the Chinese buffet before he got on stage.
He may have.
Too much
You
food.
got to get Oscar on to find out what the carb load was.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, that would be a good interview. I haven't interviewed Oscar for a while anyway, so I want to get him on. I know Oscar has Akeem told me he's got a new gym he's opening up. He was gonna open one up like 2 years ago, and then something went wrong with it, or his partner fell through. Now they're opening another one. Akeem says it's beautiful. Akeem drove an hour and a half each way, almost 5 or 6 days a week, to train with Oscar in Brooklyn, because even though Akeem is the Brooklyn Beast, BK Beast, he's living in Jersey now. So it's like the Giants. The Giants are New York Giants, but they play in Jersey. That's like Akeem.
Well, it's like the New York Pro when it was in Jersey for a while.
That's right. Yeah, it was. You're right. That's true. Now the figure division was won by Maria Luisa Diaz, Jessica Padilla was second, Andrea Pollard third, Deepika Chowdhury, from India, fourth place. Top. I think she's the only pro woman from India. Period. And she placed top 5 at the New York Pro. That is fantastic. We had her on a TV show a number of years back when she just turned pro. Actually,
that's right. I actually remember that. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think my manager just reminded me. She hadn't even turned pro yet. So congratulations. Amy Adcock, 5th place. In the bikini division, our old friend Romina Basualdo wins. Dara Diaz in 2nd. Frida Paulson Stern 3rd. Sheena Jane Martin in 4th. And Kim Gutierrez in 5th. Stack lineup. Congratulations. The figure division there had to be 30 people in this thing. I can't even believe it.
Yeah,
actually, not to throw another spear in Justin's back, because I love Justin. I love you. I know if you're listening, but his wife Maria Penteado did the figure division. She dropped from women's physique. I didn't even see this. She did figure. And you know what she should have done? Oh, there was no women's physique. That's right, at the show. She should have gone down to the Optimum Classic. She looked damn good, but she didn't do well in the figure division. She placed 16th, so I think she was just too big here. So Justin had a terrible weekend, unfortunately. Justin, you had so many good ones right before this, so you're bound to have a bad one, right? Can't have too many good ones. God's got to humble you every once in a while. Yeah. And that was it. So that was a successful weekend for you. Huh?
Yeah, it was great.
You guys did great.
Yep. Honorable mention to Patrick Moore, who was one of the better conditioned guys in the show, but he needs more mass. I think maybe 10th. You see pictures of him?
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. Patrick Moore. Oh, he was 13th. 12th. 13th, yeah. Yeah, he looked good. He's got big arms.
Yeah.
Needs bigger legs.
Yeah, definitely. He needs muffin legs.
Talk to me about, I don't want to leave out Josh Wade because, I'm really impressed with the way this guy looked. He placed 4th in the Open. We kind of glanced over him, and I got to say, this guy's conditioning is ridiculous. He actually looks a little facially like Dorian Yates, doesn't he?
Yeah. We did skip over him, maybe because he's white, according to Sergio.
And we did mention that he was white, though, in the beginning of the show, so just give credit where credit's due.
The thing with Josh that is impressive is just his conditioning is just really, really, really good. Definitely overall from head to toe, best condition in the Open, and that's why he lands where he lands. It's just the right conditioning that allows him to maximize what he's got, and he he's rounder and thicker than he's been, and I think he's improved like 3 straight years now.
Yeah, here's a guy who, just like you said, keeps getting better and better and better, and it's crazy when you think about it, you know. But congratulations to him. I mean, you got to take your hat off to this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, he absolutely. And I mean, he got what, 3rd at the Frig now. I mean, he's placing in shows with a lot of depth.
He's doing well. He's doing very well.
A lot of depth in the show.
I think it was. I think it had to be. I think you have to consider this one of the better New York Pro of all time. You know, depth wise. I'm not saying it's there wasn't better. It might have been great overall champions down the road, but I think depth wise, there was a lot of good guys in the lineup. Not just in the Open, the 212, the Classic, the Men's Physique.
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on. That's what makes a good show. Just because you have one great guy, like I think last year's show was very exciting because it went down to the wire between John and Sergio's obviously got the, his dad, the legend of his dad behind him, and he wins his first pro show. So that was exciting, but I don't know if the depth of the lineup was that great there. So the show itself wasn't as good, except for maybe just the outcome. This show was just deep in talent.
Oh, here's Regan texting. What do you think he texts? Because you know it all, Dave.
I don't know. I don't know anything.
Of course you know.
Is he apologizing for not doing for the interview?
No. No, he did do the interview. I got him on the interview.
Yeah, he did, but we got him like in the cafeteria, like,
No, I got him with an iPhone. That's how we got him. We got a long interview with him.
Sid's supposed to upload.
Kuwait under the bus. So.
Oh, you did.
So what do you already mentioned it in this show?
After the Olympia next year.
No, should he do the Open in Toronto?
Oh, of course. Does he agree with me?
No, I don't know. He said, "Here he is."
Tell him I don't think it's a good idea for him to lose that much weight again in 2 weeks. I think it's going to screw his electrolyte balance up. Tell him Dave says to do the Open.
Yeah, I'll tell him that. He said Toronto Open. Let's see.
Plus, it'll be. Imagine if he wins the Open. I mean, that would be pretty much something that we haven't seen really.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know. People ask me so many questions. It's ridiculous.
All right, here's my quote of the week. Then I'll let you go. We're going to keep this as just a New York Pro wrap-up show. Even in your rightness about a subject, when you try to push your rightness towards another who disagrees, no matter how right you are, it causes more pushing against. In other words, it isn't until you stop pushing that any real allowing of what you want can take place.
Yeah, you can't force things.
Right. You can't force your opinions on people. Even if you're right, it doesn't matter. Because if they don't see it that way, then you're not doing anything and you're not making any headway. Because you know what it is? Their eyes and ears are closed. They're not listening. They're not hearing you. And you're wasting your time. And believe me, I have been the victim, or not the victim, I have been the perpetrator of this my whole life. Because I'm always I always think I'm right. When I know I'm right about something, I want to explain it to people. I want to lay out the. That's what's great about YouTube. I could do my rants, and no one can answer me. no one can stop me from my rant. But when you're arguing with someone, whether it be your spouse, a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, your best friend, and they don't agree with you, or they think that something else, it doesn't matter. You can have the most logical argument. You could try a case before the Supreme Court, and if they're not hearing you, you're wasting your fucking breath. And you're wasting your energy, and you're not actually teaching them anything, because you have to step away first and then allow them to see what you're saying. And I fall into that because I always want to say, look, can't you see it? Here it is. I'll explain it to you. I'll teach it to you. But it's a tough thing. I'm still working on that. There's a lot of things in life I'm still working on. Some things I've worked out, and I can say, oh, here, this is the wisdom I have. But some things I haven't gotten through myself, and I think you and I probably both fall into this. The same thing. Luckily you and I can talk on the radio show and just and tell everyone how right we are. and no one can say anything.
People don't know if we're really wrong.
Right. Well, there's no one arguing. If they don't want to hear it, they don't have to hear it. We're just talking to the wind basically because there's no one answering us back.
Well, anyway. Maybe we're right.
Yeah. Who knows?
More often than not.
True. the problem is that if people don't want to hear what you're saying, then it doesn't matter really if you're right or wrong. That's the gist of the, I guess you could say, of the quote of the week. And Chris, you did a great job. Thank you for running the wrap up over there and doing the play by play. And Raphael Noble did a phenomenal job with the pictures and and the video he took. I can't thank him enough. He's been really great as our photographer, over the last couple of years. Sid, our social media maven and my co-host on some of the shows on RxMuscle Television, did a phenomenal job over there as well, with the social media and also with the one helping you with the interview with Nathan. I thought it was a great interview. Hopefully people will enjoy it. And hopefully I'll have all this coverage up by the time this radio show goes live. It's I see uploads coming on my computer now, and it's like 1:30 in the morning. So hopefully by tomorrow I can edit some of this stuff and get it up. But have a safe drive back, and with the Boston Mass, I know he listens to the show all the time. And what's he doing? Is he doing the Olympia?
Yeah, he's doing the Olympia.
Yeah. He's got to start dieting soon, huh? I can't believe it, right?
I know.
This year is just flying by. Are you going to any other shows?
Nope. They
no
try
Tampa for you?
No, I'm not. No Toronto. Zane wants me to go to Toronto, and Regan wants me.
That's a quick flight for you, isn't it? Up from Maine.
They canceled the one. They canceled the. They used to have a direct Maine to Toronto. It's an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, that would have been worth it.
Yeah, but they don't have it anymore.
Well,
I think there was not enough.
Zane is going to have his own little crew of insane Zane fans supporting him there. You're probably better. You're like me. You'll probably be better when you're not there because you're on text messages all day long with them.
Yeah, I always tell people I'm usually better without being there.
When I'm at the show, I never see my people. When I'm home, they're texting me all day long. I actually have more interaction with them, so I think I'm better, and because I'm in a more relaxed environment here.
I knew you'd say that. I knew you were going to say.
Because when I'm at a show, I'm being pulled in 40 directions.
Yeah, Dave, I knew you were going to say that. I want to finish your sentence and say, well, when you're home, you're in your own element. You don't have to
All right, let's wrap this up. Until next week, as always, with Heavy Muscle Radio.
The truth hurts.
Good night, everyone.